So this morning what I'm going to do is something a little different than I normally do. I'm going to, some will say be negative, because I really try really hard to be positive in my videos. But I guess I'm going to discuss the downside to being a expat. Now some of these are all of it's my opinion. Some of them are like something that I've dealt with, and some of these things are going to be, I haven't necessarily dealt with it, but I've observed others. And again, from my opinion, these are downsides. And to be informed is probably your best tool in your tool belt when you're deciding to live abroad, when you're deciding to become an expat. So I'll just go through some of them. It's not an inclusive list. It's things that I've observed or I have experienced. So really the biggest thing that I have to deal with is boredom. You know, I didn't come here with a lot of hobbies. So trying to fill my time, initially it was okay because everything was brand new and I could just do some really short exploring. That way I could, fill my days. But the longer you here, boredom can set in. A lot of us have been basically working our whole lives or taking care of families or taking care of others and not necessarily focusing on ourselves. So one of the pitfalls of boredom can be spending your days and nights sitting on a bar stool drinking yourself to death, and I don't recommend that. Or finding other destructive things to do to yourself. So that, again, I haven't been doing those things as far as drinking and doing other things to my body that are destructive. But trust me, I've been bored. So how do you fight it? Well, get a hobby. I'm trying this vlog thing because I don't have any hobbies. Never really did. Did some scuba diving in my late teens and early 20s, but that's kind of expensive and out of my budget. So find something you're passionate about, do it. Find those things now before you even come over. Other than vlogging, what am I doing to fill my time to fight the boredom that I'm feeling? Well, I got that scooter. So vlogging, and I got a scooter, which has just opened up so much more. Exploring and seeing really cool things. What else? Well, I'm enrolling in college here. I'm going to use my Montgomery GI Bill. I was hoping to start in January, but that's just not going to happen. So I'm working with the admissions people, and it's looking like August 2018 that I'm going to be able to go to college here full time. I mean, I already have a degree, but it's something that I'm interested in to broaden my horizons. I'm going to get a really good understanding of the culture by going to college here, and hopefully I'm planning on learning a little bit more of the language. Well, what else? So let's see. Vlogging, scooter, going to college. Well, I guess I'm also working on a American Legion post, which is actually China Post 1. I got permission from headquarters to open up what they call a watering hole here. So I've been working that. I found a bar that will allow us to come in once a month. And I'm drumming up membership. I have to create a Facebook page, which I haven't done yet, but I'm working on all those things. So that's something else that I'm doing. And hopefully through that VSO, that Veterans Service Organization, I will be able to do some community service in the community that's taken me in, and also maybe hopefully do some outreach to some fellow veterans. So that's what I'm trying to do with my time. And we'll see how it works out. But I have a plan, and I'm working on it. Also, in military we call it a battle rhythm. But for everyone else, I guess, have a schedule. My uncle used to tell me, if you fail to plan your day, you have planned to fail that day. So I got a plan. I'm trying to create a routine, a schedule, a battle rhythm for my day. And that helps also fight boredom. Whatever works for you, start formulating that plan now, because it's going to happen. It's inevitable. You're going to get bored here. Another downside to living abroad permanently or becoming an expat would probably be another one that I actually deal with, and that's missing family, friends, loved ones back from the country that you're from. Luckily, though, with the way technology is right now, reaching out to them via Skype or WhatsApp or Viber or Messenger or whatever's out there makes it that much easier, or that much more easier than it was in the past. But when you're in a developing country like the Philippines, internet isn't always up to par, and it still can be a challenge. I have adult children, and they're doing things in their lives right now that I get to hear about, but I'm not experiencing it with them, and so that's tough, and it's really tough. It wears on me a little bit. But again, you reach out, you try to be as involved in what they're doing as possible. And, sometimes our loved ones back where we're from don't understand. And so there might be some animosity, some resentment, some just bewilderment maybe. And again, that can be really hard. That can be really hard. Realize that not everyone's going to understand why you chose the path that you chose. And you have to come to peace with that. But don't burn any bridges. Continue to reach out. Continue to show that you're interested and you care. And then hopefully over time, if there's some strain in that relationship, then hopefully it can be mended. But you just can't sit there and expect, it to happen on its own. We, as the people living abroad, the expat, we have to do our fair share. And a lot of times we probably have to do a little bit more to keep those relationships strong and to ensure that they don't dissolve beyond repair. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one that all expats, whether they admit it or not, they deal with at some level. Another downside to being an expat, living abroad, can be, and oftentimes is, other foreigners, other expats. I'm a very sociable person, and I tend to like to reach out to others and introduce myself and get to know people. And I think for every one foreigner I've met that I really got to meet, not just in passing, for every one that I've actually had a positive relationship with, there's probably two that I wish I had never took the time to meet. So, but again, a lot of that has to do with personality traits, and I like to think that I have a pretty decent personality, so that's something you have to watch out for. Just when you're overseas, you're going to want to gravitate towards someone from your home country or from the West or what have you, and I say do it. Please reach out. You never know, who this person is and what kind of value they bring to your life. But at the same time, be cautious. I mean, that's pretty much good advice anytime. But just be cautious and make sure before you get too involved with that person, you actually know that person. I'm not going to sit here and throw stones in a glass house. The knife cuts both ways. I'm sure that there are people that find me difficult to be around. So don't misunderstand what I'm getting at here. But if you want peace of mind and you want some serenity in your life, just make sure that the expats, the foreigners that you surround yourself around are positive, that the things that they are into, the way that they live their lives is conducive to your sanity, is I guess what I'm saying. So just be cautious. And again, I'm no better than anybody else. I'm worse than some and better than others. So that's just the way it goes in this world. Living abroad, being a guest in somebody else's country really isn't a good place for someone with no patience. If you struggle with things not working efficiently, without blowing your top, or if you get angry when people don't necessarily understand what you're trying to say, and you're not even speaking their native language, then you might want to find some type of Zen exercises you could come up with to increase your patience. They're not going to change. The host country that you're in, like I said, I'm in the Philippines, so I'll use this as my point of reference. They're not going to adjust. Whereas in the United States, the expectation is for, the citizenry to adjust to the other's culture, to adjust to the way others think. They're not going to do that here. I've seen people struggle with the fact that things just don't work the way they expected. I mean, even I'm a fairly patient person. Well, at least I fake it really good anyway. But I've seen people struggle with the whole concept of things not being done the way they would like them to be done. And it's just not going to happen. So go ahead, before you come, find some type of Zen exercise, develop some type of coping mechanism, get yourself in the right mindset that things are going to go the way they go, regardless of what you want or how you wish. So that can be a downside to being an expat or living abroad. If you have no patience, you're going to have a miserable time. A huge benefit to living in the Philippines is, for Westerners, the cost of living. There's no doubt about it. It's cheaper to live here than it is, say, in the United States, where I'm from. But if you want all the amenities that you are accustomed to in the U.S., you can find them here, but you're going to pay for it. It's going to be more expensive. There's electricity, for example. If you're going to run your AC a lot, you're going to leave your lights on, it's going to be expensive. And when you're living on a budget overseas, you got to start thinking you got to start thinking in pesos and not US dollars. So if you're spending 6,000, 7,000 pesos a month on electricity, and you have a 75, 80,000 peso a month budget, it's not going to work. So come here. Well, you can live any lifestyle you want. Your budget and your income, rather, is going to dictate how you live. But if you think that you're going to come here and have champagne taste on a beer budget, you're going to be miserable. And it's unnecessary. Just realize that you can live cheap here. You just have to live cheap while you're here. The downfall that I've seen, it's not something that I've experienced, but from what I've seen is there is an expectation that as a foreigner here, you're going to be treated the same. And let's say you've been here a while, you're going to start thinking that you're Filipino, and you're never going to be Filipino. and as gracious as the people in this country are, as hospitable, as friendly, you're never going to be Filipino. And the rules that apply to them don't necessarily apply to us. And sometimes people get butthurt about that. The cono tax, if you get in a car accident, you better have cash on you so you can just handle it right there on the spot. Because regardless, chances are, not in all cases, chances are, whether you're at fault or not, you're going to be at fault. And some people struggle with that. Again, you'll never be Filipino if they're not going to change the way they do things for us. And if you can come to peace with that, then it's not going to be that big a deal. It's not to me, but again, I've seen people struggle with that. The list of things or the topics I discussed are in no particular order. It's just, again, I cannot emphasize enough, my opinion. For others, these aren't problems at all. A lot of the ones that I talked about aren't really a problem of mine. But I can see how they can be. Just when you're doing your research and you're watching these videos, realize it's not all peaches and cream. And the Philippines, because this is my point of reference. Now, granted, I have traveled, being in the military, career military man, traveled a lot. But you cannot come here expecting paradise every day. It's just not going to happen. But if you come with reasonable expectations, I think that you're going to find some peace for yourself and maybe find that little corner of paradise for yourself.